We have some breaking news in the investing world, some very sad news. Charlie Munger, the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, just passed away at the age of 99. Him and Warren Buffett have been besties for like the last 60 years. He's very instrumental on where Berkshire Hathaway is today. And if you're a Berkshire Hathaway investor like myself, it is a very sad day. And it's also humbling in the sense of, is Warren Buffett going to die in office per se, like Charlie Munger, or is he going to eventually step away? Which is very scary for people that invest in Berkshire Hathaway because Warren Buffett is an absolute genius. He is putting people he trusts in charge of Berkshire Hathaway, but with Charlie Munger passing away and a new vice chairman soon to be named at Berkshire Hathaway, it'll be very interesting to see who's going to take over that position. I want you guys to check out this video that Yahoo Finance just did on Charlie Munger, and we'll talk about it once it's over.
Berkshire Hathaway Vice Chairman Charlie Munger has died at the age of 99. The company announcing the news in a press release saying he died this morning at a hospital in California. Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett saying in the release, quote, Berkshire Hathaway could not have been built to its present status without Charlie's inspiration, wisdom, and participation. Our head of news, Miles Udlin, who went, of course, frequently to the Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting, is here with us now. Miles, obviously a very close partnership between Buffett and Munger, and really Munger providing a vital role in Berkshire Hathaway. Talk to us about some of your impressions.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you look at the arc of Berkshire Hathaway and you think about the changes that it has gone through as a company, starting as an investment partnership, taking over that failed factory in, textiles factory in Massachusetts to what it is today, Warren Buffett himself would really attribute a lot of those changes to his relationship with Charlie Munger, most famously Charlie getting Warren to drop the cigar butt thought around how Berkshire goes about its investments. Basically, when when Warren began his investing career, he's thinking, well, let me just find anything that's undervalued. Let's call it a company that is trading for less than the value of its cash in the stock market, right? Very simple Ben Graham type principles. And that can work when you're managing tens of millions, even hundreds of millions of dollars. But when you've got hundreds of billions of dollars at your disposal, you need to think in a different way. You look at the investments that Berkshire's made in Apple over the last few years, the way that has really changed the portfolio. It really has changed, Berkshire's approach to how it creates value for its partners, for its shareholders, which, Warren and Charlie are some of its largest. And a lot of that thinking, that approach, Warren really attributes that to Charlie prodding him to think a little bit differently, be a little bit more, I don't know if creative is the right word, but realize that, you are probably not. You, Warren Buffett, probably were not just the humble stock picker from Omaha, right? You're a unique genius who has some kind of edge, can see things in the market that people can't. And ultimately, Charlie was kind of the muse that Warren needed over the years to really get him to think differently about his own approach. And certainly that kind of back and forth the two of them had defined so much of what has happened at Berkshire Hathaway, which, in the public's eye is most closely associated with Warren Buffett. But Buffett would be the first to tell you that, the Berkshire we know today would be nothing without the contributions of Charlie.
And Miles, just think about Charlie Munger too. Also, of course, well known for his one-liners. He was not shy about his opinions. Likened bankers to uncontrollable heroin addicts. Was very blunt about his opinion on Bitcoin. Called it rat poison. I'm interested when you think about this relationship, Miles, and this news. What do you think the future of Berkshire looks like?
Well, the last several years have been interesting at Berkshire Hathaway in terms of the preparations that they've made for sad days like today. They've installed two additional vice chairmen alongside Charlie Munger. They've now got Ted Combs and Todd Weschler running the investment portfolios alongside Warren Buffett, of course. And so the Berkshire that we see today with the structure of Greg Abel and Ajit Jain as vice chairs alongside Ted, Todd, and Warren now is one that has been ready for the unfortunate and sad day that Warren and Charlie certainly candidly knew, they talked about this day coming at recent shareholder meetings. And so it is not a position where there's now a scramble to figure out what happens at Berkshire. The way that the company is going to be run as this era comes to a close, this is, part one of two, has been established. And I don't think is going to come as a surprise to shareholders. Certainly Berkshire shareholders know what these plans are. I think investors at large, the market at large, knows what this Berkshire Hathaway has become, how it got here, and what I think Warren and Charlie hope it will be for decades to come.
One of the other things I wanted to mention, is sort of the Munger Buffett legacy when it comes to charitable giving, right? I find it interesting that Munger was one of the creators of the Giving Pledge, but he didn't sign it because he had already given away most of his money. But that's also, I think, something that when we think about these sort of elder statesmen of the investing world, that was also something that was very important. I mean, one of the things that we also talk about with Munger and Buffett was fairly modest lifestyles, right?
Yeah, I mean, remember, Charlie Munger is a lawyer by trade. He was a lawyer for many, many years before he joined Warren Buffett at Berkshire Hathaway. And he and Buffett both gained a disproportionate amount of their personal wealth later in life. I think the pop culture now is still defined, right, by The Social Network, by the Wonder Kid billionaire founder. And we have a lot of, Jeff Bezos is in his 50s, Elon Musk is in his late 40s. Like, these are the richest people on earth who have a long time to live. That was not the case for Warren and Charlie. And they, came to this fabulous amount of wealth later in their lives. And I think as a result became singularly, you could almost say singularly, but I would say hyper-focused on giving that wealth away, what they were going to do with that money. Because I think, unlike perhaps the hubris of a wonderkind who comes into hundreds of millions, billions of dollars early in life, you think that you've done it. And I think Warren and Charlie's, wisdom ultimately, I think why it kind of speaks to younger investors, why thousands of people go to Omaha every year, is because everyone will say, well, luck plays a big part in it. But I think they both really believe, they saw that. They were on different trajectories in their own lives as investors, as lawyers. They started in Omaha. Charlie finished his life in California. Warren still is in Omaha, right? They didn't change too much over those years. And I think as a result, to your point, Julie, like, they had a vision for what they were not going to do with their money, go to Mars, things of this nature, right? They knew that it was a matter of happenstance that they came into billions of dollars for themselves. And I think had a real humility, not just a word, like an empty word kind of humility, but an action-oriented humility around, that's not my money. That's not my money to keep. And I'm going to have a plan to give it away, not only while I'm alive, but certainly after I pass.
Miles Edlin, our head of news, with some reflections and perspective on Charlie Munger. Thank you.
Of Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger as the two old guys from the Muppets, but the philanthropic version of them. These two guys probably grew the greatest company maybe in American history. It's sad to hear the news of Charlie Munger passing. I don't know how much involvement he had in picking investments over the last 5 or so years. I know Warren Buffett is still very involved with the other vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, but I don't think the company's going to change too much with Charlie Munger not being around anymore, and that's a good thing for investors, right? I'm an investor in Berkshire Hathaway, and their compound annual growth rate, they're averaging like 15-20% over the last 5-10 years. I mean, this company continues to grow year after year after year. It's always a good investment. They're very diversified, and Charlie Munger had a very big role in changing Warren Buffett's philosophy on investments and led him to invest in companies like Apple that kind of changed the fabric of America, right? The first original tech company, the big computer company that changed investing really forever. And the amount of money they make each year in dividends is astronomical. And they've really just transformed that company to be so diverse in so many different aspects of the American economy. And it'll be really, really interesting to see what Warren Buffett's next move is going to be. Is he going to stick around and just ride it out until the wheels fall off like Charlie Munger? Or is he going to potentially pass the reins on and kind of enjoy the rest of his time on this earth. I love Warren Buffett. I love Charlie Munger. I've been very inspired by them and read everything I could on their investing philosophies, how they pick their investments. And like all investors, they've had their winners and they've had their losers, but more times than not, they've won on their investments. And listening to their speeches is always very valuable for investors on how they kind of gauge what companies do, not only from like just a product to sales perspective, but like the human element. And they invested in the fabric of America. Like they said, they're not Elon Musk going to Mars. They invested all their money that they had. They just gave it away to universities and colleges and people that are, making this country better every single day. And that's the best part about Berkshire Hathaway. That's why I'm a proud investor in Berkshire Hathaway, and it's a company worth looking into. I hope you guys got some value from this video. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you on the next video. Peace.